What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So today we need to address the question, is it time to panic? Well, I want to address that in today's video because I know a lot of people are panicking. We know that yesterday the Bank of England, they created chaos, and I want to address what's going on there and what we are seeing here in the United States, because what we know is that when something happens in Europe, when there's a major change, when we see the Bank of England come out and make this change, well, it creates chaos here in the United States. But also, when there's a major change that happens, and there's problems, normally we see the issues here in the United States about 1 to maybe 2 months later. The problem now is it's coming almost immediately. So, let's address what's actually going on, and let's address the recent panic that we've been seeing. We know it's not just here in the United States. We know it's in China as well. China is panicking. Japan has started a recent panic. And Europe is in full-on panic mode as we speak. And for the past few months, a lot of media outlets have said that us here in the United States won't need to panic because there's just nothing to panic over. But is that necessarily true? No. When Europe is facing an energy crisis, which will likely leave them without electricity for parts of this winter, it's time to panic. When the Bank of England has to intervene in order to stabilize the economy as the pound crashes, it's time to panic. And when Apple comes out and says they are just going to slow down production of their iPhones due to falling demand, it's time to panic. Not because your iPhone's not coming, but because we cannot afford it. But for us here in the United States, we have been told that the economy is strong for years, for decades really, that there's no chance of a recession, and that the Federal Reserve is going to be able to bring down inflation. But that's not what many experts are saying. Experts are telling us that the Federal Reserve is not going to bring down inflation down to 2%. That will not happen for quite some time. But here's the truth. The truth is that the economy has been breaking for years. We're almost at that breaking point, and we've been very close. We're teetering on that line. We know that we are technically in a recession as we speak, and the Federal Reserve was way too late to try and bring down inflation, so it's here to stay. Many experts also say they believe we will not see 2% inflation for years. It's not coming. Now, one of the things I like to do, I like to see what the people running the businesses are saying. I like to see what the average person is seeing, because when you have the people on the ground that are living this, that's the best source. Well, just recently CNBC did a survey. They surveyed 21 CFOs, and 57% of them said they don't think inflation has peaked. More than 25% said inflation is the biggest external risk factor facing their business. And Costco's CEO, I love listening to what Costco has to say. When you listen to Costco, Walmart, Apple, right? These big companies, they give us a lot of insights. Well, Costco's CEO said this: I think you're going to see maybe another 6 months to a year. Things will start to come down. 6 months to a year. That's not what we've been told. We've been told by the end of 2022, inflation's coming down. Well, that's probably not going to happen. That's exactly what I've been saying for the past few months, is expect inflation to come down, to trickle down over the maybe second and third quarter. This is the end of the third quarter. So what we are expecting now, or we're coming to the end of the third quarter, but what we are expecting now is inflation to start to tick back up. That's a problem. But also, when the CEO of one of the largest retail chains in the United States is telling us this, we should probably listen. So, if you've been hoping for inflation to come down soon, think again. If you think the pain is just too much and you just can't handle this anymore, well, expect it to continue. The prices have gotten actually so bad. Just the other day, President Biden, he threatened oil companies that they will be part of an investigation if they decide to raise prices during Hurricane Ian. If they decide to raise prices, guess what? Prices for gas are going up. They're going up. Just in the past, probably 3 or 4 days. I remember I filled up a little bit. It was like $4.30 or something like that. Then it went up to $4.55. And now, just last night, gas prices are $4.92 where I live. So in the past 3 or 4 days, went from $4.30 to $4.90 in a few days. That's a 60-cent increase. A 60-cent increase. That's pretty substantial in just a matter of a few days. But here's what we know. When Europe has problems, the United States, they tend to have these problems as well. They follow roughly 1 to 2 months behind. Europe is panicking right now. And it a little bit has to do with gas, natural gas, obviously oil in general. But the extent of this panic, this is going to set in the United States very soon, if it hasn't done so already. And when the Bank of England, when they have to come out and try to, create a little bit of and stabilize the economy, that's a problem. And this is going to cause panic once again. And we saw this in the markets yesterday. The Bank of England is taking part of in their quantitative easing, not tightening. In the United States, we are supposed to be doing quantitative tightening. In England, with the Bank of England, they are doing quantitative easing. And they stated that this is only a temporary fix, but the purpose is to help those that are losing money in their pensions. Because when the markets are just being crushed, you're losing money there, but at the same time, it costs more money to be able to heat your home, put fuel in your car, right? This is becoming a problem. But what we know is that once you go down this road of quantitative easing, the problem is it's very difficult to change directions. That's the problem. So, the expectation is this is going to create even more inflation. It's not going to get better, it's going to get worse. So, we will see what happens there, but what I can tell you is when there's something that happens in Europe, it's not too long after that we feel the effects here in the United States. So expect that very soon. Now, here's the other big news out today, has to do with Russia. Russia has said this morning that on Friday, they will hold a ceremony to annex 4 Ukrainian territories. Now, these 4 regions make up about 15% of Ukraine's territory. Here's the problem. Ukraine is still attempting to fight and win back these regions. We know that. The other problem is that when it comes to some of the weapons they are using, well, it takes the United States months to create or to manufacture certain weapons and certain ammunition. The problem is Ukraine is going through this through their supply that they're getting from us in the United States. They're going through this in weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. The problem is it takes months to get some of this. Here's the other issue. The United States doesn't want to send out all of our resources to Ukraine. Yeah, do we want to help? Obviously. But do we want to send out all of our resources when Russia is just, it's very difficult to gauge where they're at? No. Could we potentially go to war? Yeah. Not just with Russia. China. Other countries as well. We cannot give away our resources when it takes months to replenish those resources. So guess what? There's a good chance Ukraine is going to have to just give up these territories. Okay? Just like they did with Crimea back in 2000, whenever it was, a handful of years ago. Right? So that's part of the problem. And if Russia can take over part of Ukraine, what's there to say that China can't take over Taiwan? So again, there's a lot of stuff happening right now. The United States has to be prepared for whatever may come. But is this time to panic? Well, this isn't time to panic, but this is time to be prepared. because what's happening right now is there's complete chaos all over the place. So, as always, as I know more, I promise I'll come back on and share all latest news and updates. Again, just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.